We begin by following the bell inward.
As I follow the bell inward, I realize that that still, sacred place is always there. I'm reminded of Namaste. When I am in that still, small place in me, that still, quiet space, and you are in that still, quiet space in you, we are one. Knowing that we are one with the infinite. And I realize that that knowledge is used as an example in the world. Spiritual principles applied to our lives. And so I know today that Reverend Diana's lesson is perfect for each one of us as we each hear the same thing in a different way. As we hear that next step of our evolution, as we hear what is ours to do. So in this moment, I simply feel grateful. Grateful for this time and this place, and especially grateful for each one of you here. Knowing that as we share in community, we lift one another up. So I simply release my prayer, knowing it is already so, and together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Cherie. Beautiful prayer. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So if you're new with us online this morning, my name is Reverend Diana Johnson. I'm the pastor and spiritual director for Mystic Heart Spiritual Center. We're an independent interfaith community that teaches universal principles and practical spirituality, tools that you can take home and use in your life. We open our doors and welcome to you, trusting that you'll be led to the guidance and wisdom that dwells within your own mystic heart. So we begin our Taizé this morning with musical prayer.
Welcome home to your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition start to guide you through heaven's door. Welcome home to your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition start to guide you through heaven's door. Welcome start. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition start to guide you through heaven's door. To guide you through heaven's door. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love.
Dropping down into the truth of who I am. Settling into this one perfect moment. We take a moment to breathe together. To allow the breath to bring us fully present. Following it in, and feeling the life flowing into every cell, every atom, enlivening all of the space in between, following it back out, letting go of any tension that the body may be feeling. With every breath in, feeling your body come to life. And with every breath out, relaxing the body just a little bit more. Allowing a smile to come to the face. And noticing how that relaxes so many muscles in the face and jaw. And as we become more and more present, we allow our attention to rest on the deep connection that we share with all of life, with our global community. We acknowledge the light of spirit that enlivens every person, every more than human creature, every plant, rock, and grain of sand, every drop of water, all that is seen and that which is not, that which is known and that which will never be known, all connected at the deepest level, all teeming with the life of God, shining with the light of Spirit. We are truly of one essence, one substance, one source. And this one source is expressing and experiencing itself right here and now, in, through, and as each one of us, and through all of creation. As we take the time to sense our oneness and acknowledge our interdependence, we are grown in compassion, empathy, and understanding. We come to understand that every thought, word, and action matters. And we take greater and greater care as we move through our days. This month, our contemplations are centered in living Buddha, living Christ. And this morning, we contemplate the question, if not now, when? It is so easy to fall into the habit of putting things off. Procrastination seems to be built into our culture. As children, we can't wait to grow up. That's when we'll be really alive. Then we'll get to do everything we want to do. We graduate high school, we figure that once we've finished college or have secured a good job, then life will really begin. Then we think we need to buy a car or a house. We need a life partner, a career. Then everything will be right. Before we know it, we may find ourselves thinking, when I retire, then I'll have the time and money to really live the life I've always wanted to live. This same habit often permeates our spiritual lives. How many of us have ever felt that we're not spiritual enough? That there is some future time when our minds won't wander and race during meditation. When we will remember to take our troubles to prayer first, before worry sets in. Some future time when we'll attain some kind of awareness or enlightenment that will make our lives so much easier. And then it will be much easier to hold more loving thoughts and speak more kindly, to love even those who challenge us to our core. We are here this morning to be reminded that the only moment we ever have is now. The one life we have to live is happening right now. And we have no idea how many of those moments we may be granted. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And so are you. Neither of us, none of us, will ever be more spiritual than we are right now. It will always take our attention, our awareness, and our willingness to think loving thoughts, to speak kind words, to love our neighbors, especially those sacred friends that are here to stretch our patience, our compassion, our understanding, or those who are here to teach us the gentle art of forgiveness. There is no better time than now to choose to live in peace within our own hearts, in our families, with our neighbors, and in our communities. There is no better time than now to choose an attitude of radical compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves, for those whose lives have led them to ways we do not understand. What is it like to be you? To have experienced all that you have? What is it like to be in your body, in your mind, in your emotional state? What is it like to have the challenges that you have dealt with? There is no better time than now to step into our Buddha nature, to let the Christ consciousness that lies at the core of every being shine forth. This too is a choice, one that we make again and again and again. One that takes our commitment to be our best selves in every moment. We may have a belief that says, this is too hard. It's not reasonable. It's expecting too much. I am here to be the voice of Spirit, gently whispering the question, if not now, when? There is no better time than now.
Our topic for today comes from the ending of a longer quote from the great Jewish mystic Rabbi Hillel. He taught during the 1st century before the Common Era and into the 1st century of the Common Era. He said, "If I am not for myself, who is for me? But if I am for myself only, what am I? And if not now, when? If I am not for myself, who is for me? If I don't stand up for myself, who will? And if I do not have the courage to call out injustices directed at me, how will I ever be able to help my siblings who cannot defend themselves?" Rabbi Hillel reminds us that we are all entitled to be treated with dignity. But if I am for myself only, what am I? We each have divine gifts to share with the world. We are meant to live, grow, and share in community, to serve, love, and support one another. If my spiritual growth does not help evolve humankind as a whole, it can have no real meaning. It can have no real value. And if not now, when? It is said that God does not call the qualified. God qualifies those who are called. We cannot wait until we feel up to the challenge. We need to have faith that if it is before us, it is for us. When we recognize injustice, it is right then that we are being called to intervene. In our 3 minutes of silent contemplation this morning, I invite you to remember a time when somebody stood up for you or spoke up to defend you. Perhaps in your childhood or in another vulnerable period. Remember how it made you feel. Now, consider what that person may have been feeling. Where did they find the courage to speak up for you? And how might you find the courage to call out injustice the next time you see it? Let that person's example inspire you. O divine beloved, we give profound thanks for this time of communion and contemplation. Thank you for the courage to act on our faith and to rely on your guidance. And thank you for these beloved souls who support me on this spiritual journey. May we never forget who and whose we are. The great soul Mohandas Gandhi said, "It's the action, not the fruit of the action, that's important. You have to do the right thing. It may not be in your power or in your time that there will be any fruit, but that doesn't mean you stop doing the right thing. You may never know what results come from your action, but if you do nothing, there will be no result." As this morning's Taizé continues, we receive Reverend Diana's inspired message with open minds and courageous hearts, encouraged into active compassion and justice. If not us, who? If not now, when?
Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that the Buddha and Jesus of Nazareth were perhaps the two most pivotal figures in the history of humankind. Each one left behind a legacy of teachings and practices that have shaped the lives of billions of people over the course of 2 millennia. He invites us to contemplate, if these two men were to meet on the road today, what would each think of the other's spiritual views and practices? It seems to me that they would find much more in common than what divides them. The Buddha taught that by the Eightfold Path, we are to work for the end of suffering, that by right view, resolve, speech, and conduct, through right livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and samadhi, we are in service to the whole, making the world a better place. Jesus taught that by following the 2 great commandments, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself, we would bring the kingdom of heaven to earth, ending all suffering. Both of them saw the purpose of a human life to be service to something greater than oneself. They shared the belief that every being has Buddha nature, or Christ consciousness, fully formed and waiting to be discovered and released in the world. That it is not something we build through study and practice, rather it is who and what we are by our very nature. In the Gospel of Thomas, Logion 70, Yeshua says, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." Take a moment of silence with that verse. What does it have to offer in your life right now? If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Join me now in prayer. There is only one essence, substance, process, one source of all that is, infinitely loving, love in action, everywhere present, the presence of life itself in all that exists, intimately involved with all of creation, expressing and knowing itself in, through, and as all that is, was, and ever shall be. Forever and eternally just. Righteousness in action. Lawful. Receiving what we offer and reflecting it back so that we might become more and more aware of our own potential. And graceful beyond all measure. The very quality of grace, turning all things to good. This one is the light that shines in every human heart. The life that breathes every one of us, no matter the appearance. It is ours to remember the truth, to uncover that light within ourselves so that it may shine out into the world. And it is ours to see that light in others, in all others. Remember, in truth, there are no others. We are all individual expressions of one life. Rather than being difficult to remember and to practice, I know this truth to ease my every step. As I sink into the truth of who and whose I am, my choices become much simpler. Everything else falls away, but this one question: what would love do now? I release any argument that may try to form in my mind, any thought that the spiritual journey must be difficult, arduous. This is all story. It's all illusion. And I welcome the grace that is freely given, relaxing into my true self and allowing it to lead the way. I give thanks for this beautiful day, no matter what the weather and conditions may appear to be. For conditions are impermanent. They change from one moment to the next. Truth is eternal. Love is the answer to every question, the solution to every challenge. I give thanks for my spiritual family, for the support and the love that is given so freely and received so willingly. And I give thanks for this beautiful space, knowing that our right and perfect next yet to be is already present in the mind of the One and is coming into form as we listen for guidance and follow. Trusting that every prayer is answered even before it is spoken, I release my word, trusting in its power. The job is already done, and I watch it in joyful expectation as it moves into experience. I call it done, and so it is. Amen.
The Christ in me, says the Christ in you. one's a chosen one, the many and the few. All together now, it takes two, the Christ in me and the Christ in you. To know love is to be love, and I know love will stay alive when the Christ in me sees the Christ in you. 'Cause everyone's a chosen one, the many and the few. All together now, it takes two, the Christ in me and the Christ in you. If my friend feels sad and broken every time that my heart opens, love makes its way into the world. When the Christ in me sees the Christ in you, 'cause everyone's a chosen one, the many and the few. All together now, it takes two, the Christ in me and the Christ in you. 'Cause I can do all things through Christ who is my strength. I can do all things through Christ who is my strength. I can do all things through Christ who is my strength. I can do all things through Christ who is my strength. I can do all things through Christ who is my strength. I can do all things through Christ who is my strength. When the Christ in me sees the Christ in you, 'cause everyone's a chosen one, the many and the few. All together now, it takes two, the Christ in me and the Christ in you. The Christ in me and the Christ in you. The Christ in me and the Christ in you.
I invite you now to bring your awareness back into the space. Awareness of the body. How's it doing this morning? Notice the atmosphere and the coolness in the room. Opening your eyes when you're ready and taking in whatever's before you. And maybe peeking in to see who snuck in. Good morning. Good morning. So as we close our Taizé meditation, we offer an opportunity for you to share of your financial good with our community, should you choose to do that, so that we might continue our growth and our good works in the world. If you're joining us online, you can go to mysticheart.org and you'll find a donate button, you'll find a mailing address. We also offer a gracious giving opportunity if you'd like to make a monthly contribution that's committed to help us with our budgeting. And while we do our offering this morning, Dalton's got another song for you in My Awakening.
Still my mind, be at peace in my awakening. I release I release. Still my mind, free my soul. In my awakening, I am whole. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti.
So we say thank you. It's okay if you want to clap. Did a beautiful job. Thank you. We say thank you for these many gifts that are offered our way. We commit to doing good work with them, to growing and expanding them, and then to offering them back out into the world, because that's what they're for. So thank you for the grace that brings these gifts through your hands and hearts. And so it is. Amen. So feel free to grab something next door, some coffee, tea, or something, and do a little visiting, and come on back at 10:30 if you're called to take this conversation, take this topic into conversation together. Thank you for being here. Oh, excuse me. Gary has generously shared some tomatoes from his garden this morning.
They were great.
Thank you. So help yourself up here. They're here for you.
That'll put a smile on your lips.
There's a lot of sing-alongs this morning, but I need your help with this last one.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I forgot.
May your soul always find what it's looking for. May your heart always lead the way. May you live in peace and harmony, and may love always fill your day. May your path be strewn with happiness. May success find you everywhere. May you always embrace compassion and grace, and may God always. You can stand up if you want. May your soul always find what it's looking for. May your heart always lead the way. May you live in peace and harmony, and may love always fill your day. May your path be strewn with happiness. May success find you everywhere. May you always embrace compassion and grace. May God always answer your prayer.
Knowing as we come together in fun and community and love, celebrating that joy with one another, the joy of life, the joy of love. Knowing that as each one of us learns and applies and sees those spiritual principles working and living in their life, they are a bright light to each person that they come in contact with. So I celebrate this, knowing that each of us here is exactly what we need for that next step. So grateful for our time together today. I simply release my prayer knowing it is already so, and together we say,
So it is.
Amen.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
So good to have you here in the air conditioning. I'm loving that we have good air conditioning. So I welcome you, or welcome back if you're coming back from Taizé. Welcome to those joining online. If you're new with us here online this morning, my name is Reverend Diana Johnson. I'm the pastor, spiritual director for Miracle Center? No, Mystic Heart Spiritual Center, and I'm tongue-tied apparently. We're an independent interfaith community, and we teach practical principles and universal principles, practical spirituality. We give you tools that you can choose to take home with you to put to use in your life, and we open our doors in welcome to all who wish to join us. We trust that you're going to be led to the guidance and wisdom of your own heart, because that's where your answers can be found every time. So we have Dalton here with us this morning to get us going with some music. So join in, sing, dance, whatever.
Please stand up if you feel like it.
Got a salt shaker.
You gotta hear it going. Welcome to the Mystic Heart. Join the celebration. Raise your voice and sing your part. Make this affirmation. Spirits made us family with loving hearts to share. And together we are joyfully practicing the gospel through prayer. Welcome to the Mystic Heart. The voice of God is a slapback on it.
Yeah.
Everybody get up on your feet. Sing the lighting. Everybody in me. Everybody get up on your feet now. Sing the lighting. Everybody in me. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one. One big family. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Now let us make a joyful sound, 'cause here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound, 'cause here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody, get up on your feet, sing the lighting. Everybody in me, yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. This next song is a call and response number. If you don't know it, you will pick it up. You just sing back to me what I sing to you. That's how it goes. That's how it works.
If you know the call, call. If you don't, respond.
May I be happy, my friends be happy.
May my friends be happy.
May my friends be peaceful.
May my friends be peaceful.
May my friends be free.
May my friends be free.
May they be free.
May they be free.
If anyone has hurt me,
If anyone has hurt me,
I now freely forgive.
I now freely forgive.
If I have hurt anybody,
If I have hurt anybody,
may they forgive me now.
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 May I have no judgments.
May I have no judgment.
May I have no hatred.
May I have no hatred.
May I have no enemies.
May I have no enemies.
May I be free.
May I be free.
If anyone has hurt me,
If anyone has hurt me,
I now freely forgive.
I am freely forgiven.
If I have hurt anybody,
If I have hurt anybody,
may they forgive me now.
may they forgive me now.
I forgive myself right now.
I forgive myself right now.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be peaceful.
May all beings be peaceful.
May all beings be free.
May all beings be free.
May they be free.
May they be free.
May we all 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 be, sing it with me.
All right, let's take a creative journey together. If you're on your feet and you want to stay on your feet, that would be just great.
Are we free to do that?
You are free to do that, or not if you don't want to. I've been told that we're becoming more free in our actions in this service. People have noticed. So let your body take it in and express it if that's what you're called to do. Calling upon the full power of both the mind and the heart, engaging the body, joining with one another in the imaginal realm in service to something greater than ourselves, in service to the creation of a love-soaked world. See and feel with me now a world in which everyone, all inhabitants of every species, live the highest potential. Kindness, generosity, compassion, peace, freedom, cooperation. In this new world, all people honor and care for one another and for the life forms that share this beautiful planet with us, and for the Mother herself. We remember that we are all connected to all of life in a very absolute way. That we are dependent on the planet to sustain us, and we are dependent on one another for connection, for belonging, for our very lives. In this new world, we align our every thought, word, and action with our values. We're creating a world in which all people are well fed. That every one of us has the safety and comfort of home and a deep sense of purpose and belonging. We're building a world in which health, education, and healthy relationships are supported by social systems that are grounded in integrity, in compassion, and in wholeness. valuing everyone, every being for its uniqueness. We practice living truly authentic lives where our vulnerability is celebrated.
Yes.
There's no need to defend or protect. The work that we're doing within ourselves shows up as a world free of hatred and free of violence. We recognize the abundance that surrounds us in every moment. Greed is a thing of the past, as generosity flows freely in every direction, in, through, and as every being. And all beings gratefully receive all that's needed to live physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually fulfilling lives. The planet and its beings thrive like never before, as we learn to recognize the sacred in everyone and in everything. We walk in reverence and gratitude for every single gift that has been showered down upon us, and they are just countless. We maintain this vision day by day, moment by moment, as we align our actions with the vision, living the changes first in our own lives, with our own families, with our neighbors, in our communities. And one neighborhood and community at a time, a new world is being born. In this process of profound change, this beloved community stands as an open and welcoming place for all who seek support, belonging, and a sense of family. By the power of our deep faith and our inspired action in the world, this prayer is acted upon even as it is spoken. Spirit knows our heart's desire and our full intent. In full expectation of its graceful unfolding, we release our prayer now to the creative power and intelligence that I call God, that I call Spirit, that I call Great One. We let it go, we let it be. To the one that gets it done, and so it is. Amen. Oh, there we go. Some music, some clearing, some beautiful creativity happening in that imaginal realm together. Our theme this month is Living Buddha, Living Christ. It's the title of a book by Thich Nhat Hanh, Living Buddha, Living Christ. Yeah, it's the name of a book that Thich Nhat Hanh put out many years ago. And so we're going to use that sort of as a theme, not necessarily using just the book, but I liked the title for the month. And the topic today of our conversation is, if not now, when? She says, it's now. I got the salt shaker. Got the tomato. Why would I wait? So this morning, this morning during Taizé, we spent some time reflecting on how we as human beings can tend to put things off a little bit. We can be procrastinators sometimes. We seem to have this view that some other time it's something that we need to take care of, or that want to do. Some other time's going to be easier, it's going to be better, it's going to work out better. So rather than stepping in now, we just wait. Especially when it comes to something that needs to get done, or a change that we know needs to happen within ourselves and our lives. Sometimes we put off experiencing the good that is ours. We keep it at arm's length by unconscious patterns, by sabotage that we don't even see is happening in our lives. So we also contemplated the idea that this same habit often permeates our spiritual journeys as well. I'm not spiritual enough right now as I am. I see that all the time in people. You know, maybe next year after I've taken another class, or I've gotten another certificate, or I've spent another year in meditation, or I've learned how to pray more effectively, or somehow I'll be in a better place to then be kind to my neighbor. You know? That's not how it works. Hate to tell you.
It's a 4-year university.
Yeah, right. So, you know, this idea that maybe someday And again, I hear this all the time in meditation. Someday my mind is not going to wander and race around as I sit here. It will just be still, because I will have done this enough times. That's not how it works. I got to tell you, 32, 33 years so far, my mind is still racing. So there we are. Maybe I'll remember to take my troubles to prayer first before I start worrying, once I'm more spiritual. Doesn't seem to be how it works. Life will be so much easier then, won't it? Be easier then than it is now? Then I'll be able to hold loving thoughts. Then I'll be able to speak kindly to people and not flip people off as they drive by on the road. That's when that'll happen. Then I'll be able to love those people who are my sacred friends, who are here to stretch and challenge me to my core. That's when it'll happen. Then, not now. I have some bad news for you, but it's also the good news. There isn't a moment when that's going to happen. Not a moment when all of a sudden everything is going to be different. There is a progression in the spiritual journey where you can notice things with practice, with study, with, engagement in your spiritual life, that life can smooth out and often does smooth out. But there's no arrival time when suddenly it's just all going to be easy and you're never going to have another challenging experience or thought. So the only moment, and we did some reflection on this morning, the only moment we have is now. In every moment, it's now. That's it. The one life we have to live is happening now. We have no idea how many moments we are going to be granted in this lifetime. None of us will ever be any more spiritual than we are right now. We're spiritual beings. It will always take our attention, our awareness, and our willingness to think loving thoughts, to speak kind words. Always. There's no better time than now to choose to live in peace with our own hearts, in our families, with our neighbors, our communities. There's no better time than now, we said this morning, to choose an attitude of radical compassion. And this is a choice. Compassion for those who are less fortunate than ourselves, for those whose lives have led them to live in ways that we don't understand or maybe approve of, as if we needed to approve of how other people live. Radical compassion that asks the question, what's it really like to be you, with all of your past, your history, your family, your upbringing, your qualities and traits, the traumas you might deal with, the circumstances you live in, the challenges you have faced in your life. What is it really like to be you? That is compassion. There's no better time than now to step into our Buddha nature, to let the Christ consciousness that lies at the core of each one of us come to light, so that, why? Why do we want it to come forth? Why do we care that we are truly comes forth into the world? Why does that matter? Yeah.
Because it aligns us with the world. I mean, that Christ is in all and in
Okay.
everything. And so we're basically aligning ourselves with the truth.
So we align ourselves with the truth that way. We align ourselves with all other beings. We level the playing field, if you will. We're all alike, way more than we're different.
And I think it also brings forth compassion.
And it brings forth compassion. Yeah.
And it can result in peace.
And it results in peace. So, why don't we do this? when we don't do this. Not saying that none of us ever do this. I think all of us here are working to do this as often as we can, but when we don't, what is it that gets in the way?
Our judgments.
Our judgments?
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure.
We feel powerless in the face of the inertia of the systems that are in place.
Okay, powerless in the face of the inertia of the systems that seem to be moving along with or without us.
I think most of the time, we just get on autopilot, kind of the way we've been conditioned.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the way I do things, and I
Right.
don't even think about what the consequences are.
Yeah, so autopilot, habit patterns, just not even being awake to what I'm doing.
Feeling inadequate?
Feeling inadequate. Yeah, who, me? Christ consciousness? Buddha nature? Who, little old me?
Yeah.
And while it's a real feeling of maybe a lack of self-worth,
Yes.
it's also a form of arrogance and self-absorption. How is that a form of arrogance or self-absorption?
Oh, I don't need to do that stuff. I'm fine the way I am.
Okay, I'm fine the way I am.
Look in the mirror.
Or just, who, little me?
Well, when you're thinking about, if you're investing time into hating yourself or like sort of, thinking of yourself as small, you're still thinking about yourself.
Right, you're thinking about yourself.
The eyeball is turned inwards.
Yeah. Not to say that we should never think about ourselves, but just acknowledging that that is one form of self-absorption. And we don't often see it that way. We see that as, humility. It's false humility.
But we've been,
Oh, no, go ahead, Barb. And then,
we've been just so programmed not to put forth all that space in us. We've just been the lights have been dampened.
Right.
For so long.
Yeah.
That we forget.
we forget.
Our allness. We can live in our smallness, but we forget our allness,
Oh, I like that. We can live in our smallness, we forget our allness.
You gotta write that one down.
Yeah,
That's
bumper sticker,
really
bumper
good
sticker.
one.
So what about, go ahead, I'm sorry.
There's also, it's hard to look at the suffering that's in the world.
Yeah,
And
yes.
we live in a culture that says it's okay to just live in denial that that's even going
Right.
on. And so
Yeah.
we're encouraged to not call it out.
Right. Yeah, we are. David?
So, it is amazing because a lot of things seem overpowering that we
Mm-hmm.
aren't able to do anything about it. But there was a big milestone yesterday
Mm-hmm.
that 60 years ago we signed the Civil Rights Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And those people had gone for years and years trying to change the system, and
Right.
that's what it took, was,
Yeah.
one foot in front of the other and
Right.
keep going.
And keep going and
Yeah.
stay with it.
Yeah.
All of the little actions that we offer,
Right.
they add up.
It made this huge change.
Right.
You know?
They do add up.
It's a determined persistence.
Determined
What you want to
persistence.
see coming about.
And can we maintain in that our optimism? Because boy, there's a lot of pessimism and cynicism under the guise of realism out there, right? No, I'm not a pessimist, I'm not a cynic, I'm a realist. Okay, what's real? You know?
Right.
Yeah, right.
Without optimism, I don't think we'll have longevity.
Right,
It'll peter out if we do it from a sense of, having to do it. It's this thing, we've got to save the world kind of concept.
Right.
It's not going to sustain.
no, it won't. It has to come from your own internal love of life, your internal passion, what you internally believe in.
Look what one man did, Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah. Yeah, he made some big changes through peaceful,
But he changed himself,
he changed himself.
and then that allowed
Yeah.
that to be so powerful.
Right. Chris, was your hand back there?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that optimism is really fueled by our faith and trust
Yes.
in something larger. And something larger is when we're all working together,
Yeah,
bringing that energy in one direction,
right.
united, and transforming ourselves.
Transforming ourselves, joining together in community, and then bigger than that, our deep faith in goodness itself, in God, in grace, in all things being turned to good always, no matter what it looks like. What about, sometimes are we just plain lazy?
Yeah.
No.
What?
I am.
Lazy.
Yeah.
Maybe they are, we're not.
Do we make excuses?
Yes.
Are we a little bit entitled sometimes?
Yes.
Are we overcommitted ever? I would say yes to that, yes? Yeah, so all kinds of things get in our way. So why do you think that the human beings that are on the planet at this time are here? What are we here for? We don't-
Lessons,
Huh?
lessons in love.
Lessons?
Yeah, one big
Lessons?
lesson.
To usher in the evolution of humanity.
To usher in the evolution of humanity.
Create a love-soaked world.
Create a love-soaked world.
To experience life.
To experience life.
Energy in physical form.
Energy in physical form.
And the thing about it is, I think we forget sometimes that we're all the active players.
Right.
That you can't just, okay, this is what's happening. You have to participate in that energy to make it manifest.
Yeah, if you want things to shift and change in our world, you've got to be an active participant, even in your own life, shifting and changing in your own life. Cindy?
To be the voice, hands, and feet of God on
To be
earth.
the voice, hands, feet, heart of God on the planet.
Well, I believe that God lives in relationship, and I believe that our manifestation is a result of His manifestation of relationship. And so we're here to be in relationship and to reflect that relationship with Him.
Okay, so we're here to be in relationship. Thank you.
To enjoy what we have
To enjoy what we have
and who we are.
and who we are. So there's a whole range of things. Cheryl?
Well, the thing that, personally, and I've gotten past that, is often, years ago, I used to say, I wish I could have, what could I have done differently in the past to make a difference? That would have been better.
Mhm.
Now I think, all those things that happened was my lesson to move forward so I
Mhm.
can be a better person for those around me.
Right. All right. Yeah. So instead of wishing you could change what
Mhm.
has been,
Exactly.
accepting that it brought you to where you are and it's on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. David?
So instead of trying to change something old,
Mm-hmm.
you come up with something new.
Right.
And that was my old days of protesting what I thought was wrong, only to realize that I needed to bring the change that would
Right.
let that decay and fall away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So what about serving as, and we don't know for fact that like we're the only self-reflective choice-making beings, but we know we're at least one large group of self-reflective choice-making beings. You think that we have, that gives us something?
Is this the R word?
Huh?
Is this the R word?
It could be, voiced as an R word.
Yeah.
Agency.
Agency.
Mm-hmm.
Responsibility.
Responsibility. So, yeah, so we have a responsibility to think about the choices we're making, because we have the capacity to self-reflect and to make choices.
Capacity,
Yeah,
whether we do or not.
whether we do or not, that's another story, but we have the capacity. Bob?
Yes, we have to listen to what's going on in herself.
Mm-hmm.
And ask, like last summer, and for the last 13 years, if not now, when, on moving back to Reading.
Oh, here you are.
Finally did did it.
Uh-huh.
And we should have done it years ago, but it was like our wagon was stuck in the rut in the yard. I had to break it free, head north. And
Good north,
everything,
young man.
thanks for all the affirmative prayers here. We jumped through hoops to make it happen. Like, I couldn't believe it. Everything went our way.
Yep. Prayer's amazing.
We're here. We might be living in the dining room till our floors come in, but we're here.
And you have a team waiting to help move your stuff out of storage into your house. So you let
Thank
us
you.
know
I'll probably be.
when that happens.
I'll be needing that.
Okay. So would you say that maybe part of what we're here for is to steward life on the planet?
Good examples of life.
Huh?
Good, bad, and ugly examples of life.
Yes.
But working more towards the good.
Right. Intention. There are some that say that, some spiritual paths that say that we're here to transcend the material realm. In Buddhism and Hinduism, there's a transcendence about getting beyond this material world.
Not so much it's about getting beyond it, but not having attachments to.
Okay, so not having attachments to it. So some would say that we're here to uncover the light that we are and to walk more fully in the presence of the divinity that we are. But why does it matter that we come to know our own light? Again, that can get pretty self-absorbed if we're not careful. What's that light for?
To share.
To share, to serve, to shine.
Love everyone, serve
teach.
everyone.
Yeah, to teach, to teach by example, though, too, right? To live it so that others can say, oh, wow, you look pretty happy over there. What are you doing? You seem to get along well with everybody that crosses your path. What are you doing? We got a chuckle there. Yeah. So, this month's theme, Living Buddha, Living Christ, how do you interpret that when you just hear that phrase?
They're all as one.
Okay, so it's all the same thing, they're all as one.
It's constant.
It's constant. Okay.
Well, there's, the Buddhists say that the Buddha is consistently being reborn again where he or she is needed on earth at the time. And I think that's true of the Christ consciousness as well. I think that each of us has a Buddha mind, we each have a Christ consciousness that we can develop. And some people are just really highly developed and they become the Buddha, they become the Christ, but we all, they both taught that we all have that capacity.
That it's our nature, our truest nature is that. Yeah.
Learning to live from that core.
So learning to live from that core.
And
Yeah.
bring it forth as opposed to our lesser angels.
Okay, good. Gary?
Tying it back to light, Jesus said, no man puts a light under a bushel, so let your light shine before men. So it's kind of like this idea that the light is there to shine, it's not to be hidden.
Right. It's there to shine, and not in a, again, not in an arrogant, that's not really shining your light. That's something else. So in Taizé we read a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, and he invited us to contemplate this thought, and then now we can talk about it. Then we just went into silence for a moment. If Buddha and Jesus were to meet on the road today, what would each think of the other's spiritual views and practices?
They would be looking in a mirror.
They would be looking in a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
If Buddha and Jesus were to meet each other on the road, what would they think of one another's spiritual views and practices?
They would love each other just the way they are and the way they're not.
They would love each other just the way they are.
And the way that they are not.
and the way that they are not. All right.
That's it.
April?
My first image was, they probably wouldn't think anything at all. They'd probably just say, hey, how you doing? Sit down, have a meal, and look at the trees together. What do you got past that? Just recognize each other and hang out. That's pretty much what it would be.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, they're not
Like,
gonna-
hey,
they're not
high
gonna have a-
five. Like,
yeah, they're not
you're,
gonna have a
hey,
deep
brother.
conversation, because there's no point
Yeah.
in that. Neither of them would have been like the generations after them trying to push or argue their influence. They would
Yeah.
just be in who they are and be together.
And be accepting of exactly what
Yeah.
that looked
I
like.
wouldn't talk about anything.
It
All
made
right.
me smile when you brought that to us.
Uh-huh.
It's just like so awesome. I don't know, in my mind it was awesome. That was an awesome
Chris,
meeting.
and then David.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't talk theology.
Yeah.
They would not talk theology, right, most likely. David, what do you?
Well, I think they covered it. I was just gonna say, they'd pass one another going, hey, brother, how you doing? Slap hands and enjoy one another.
So
We'll
were
have a
they?
beer together. We'll have a beer together.
Yeah, I was saying-
Wine, they were in
Yeah,
wine.
I just made this wine.
I just made this wine, you want to try? Were they more similar or more different?
I think they were very similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarity. Buddha and Jesus both taught non-attachment in different ways, but non-attachment to the material realm. Buddha by speaking of impermanence and how attachment to the material brings suffering. Jesus by warning things like, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. So very similar non-attachment. Lucinda?
In spite of what some people out there may say, they both said, in their own way, love thy neighbor as thyself.
They both taught love, serve, yeah.
I think they would be excited and just lots of good energy, you know, and it makes me think of hanging out with friends at the swimming creek, and we were excited to be together, and we shared our thoughts, and we shared our beingness, and we played, and we explored.
Yeah.
That's what it's
We
about.
cannonballed into very
Yeah.
shallow water.
Oh, carefully, I hope.
Youch.
So another idea that they shared in common was the idea of living the middle way, finding balance and avoiding extremes. The Buddha taught and lived the middle way in terms of finding balance and harmony in all things. Again, focusing a lot on the material realm and relationship and people and behaviors and consumption, all of those things, so as to minimize suffering for oneself and for other people. And Jesus lived the middle way by serving as an example of this balance between walking in you know, one foot in each world. We're divine, we're human. We're divine, we're human. And setting a beautiful example of how to do that with a lot of integrity and love. So both Buddha and Jesus taught by example that our purpose here was to serve other people, to reduce suffering, to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth, to make the earth a better place. We're here on earth because we're material beings. We're supposed to experience that in ways that are supportive.
They were both influenced by their divine nature to be what they needed to be on
Right.
earth in that moment.
Yeah. So bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth, Buddha called it Buddha nature, Jesus called it the Father within, among other things. But their lives, both men, if you read about their lives were their teachings. They didn't write books of theology. Their lives were their teaching. Their service was their teaching. So I saw a hand over here. David.
Well, and it's interesting to see that same thing come down in generations as when Ram Dass was in India and he found his guru. Well, after he spent years there and left, last words from his guru were love everyone, serve everyone, and remember to keep awake. To do
Remember
it.
who you are, stay awake.
Yeah, so that's basically the same message
Right.
all the great awakened beings are sharing.
Yeah. So I want to share with you a verse, a logion from the Gospel of Thomas that again we had a chance to hear and contemplate this morning. But I'd like to have a little conversation as our last point of conversation here. Let's see, where did I write that down? I'm all over the place. I like it.
Don't get lost.
There it is. Okay. Logion 70 from the Gospel of Thomas. That's one of the Gnostic Gospels that Chris is actually going to be leading us through next year. So Yeshua says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. The question we sat with was, what does that have to offer in my life right now? So what does that even mean? Any thoughts that come up around that? I'm open to whatever you want to share. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you.
Sounds dramatic.
It does sound dramatic.
I think it's got a lot to do with opening to change.
Okay.
And being willing to allow the changes to come in as they want to, because that way everything flows freely.
Right.
But if you will not do that, if you allow fear to, or whatever to hold you in your seat,
Right.
and you refuse change, that's all going to be right there, and it's all going to be trying to come out, and you will never be happy unless you
Right.
let that go.
Because change is the one constant, right? One thing you can always count on is change.
When you read that, what I heard was, the truth will set you free.
Okay.
And that goes for every, everything, whether it's your authentic self,
Right.
having the courage and the freedom to be who you are in the world and not hold that back, or to tell the things that you've always wanted to say to someone, or to live life how you would like to live, to speak your truth and live in what is your truth, and how that is freeing. And if you feel free, then how you can move in the world so much more effectively than
Right.
if you're bound by these things that you're keeping inside or not stepping forward into that, then how you will just simply be eaten away from the inside after some time of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I heard.
Thank you. Chris and then Chris.
That not stepping forward would be a resistance, and
Okay.
resistance blocks a flow of energy. And
All right.
when the energy is blocked, death occurs.
Okay, so not stepping forth means there's a resistance there, which is blocking the flow of energy that is seeking to find its flow.
As a songwriter, the modern corollary to this is, they say, don't die with your music still inside of you.
Yeah.
You know, because you have the gift because you're supposed to share it.
Right.
And if you don't, you have this deathbed experience of regret.
Yeah.
I could have been a contender. But if I get to that point and I have regrets, I want it to be for things I did, not for things I didn't do. And I think that regret is what he's talking about when he said that will destroy you if you don't
Yeah.
bring it forth.
Yeah, we have to bring forth who we are.
I think it means to bring forth your joy and spread your joy, your light out into the world, and how that flows from you and flows into others and comes back to you. And if you have, a fear or anger or even your your difficulties, and they just stay inside of you. You know, same with your joy.
Right.
It's stagnation.
Yeah.
And you have to let it forth out into the world to, you know, help others change you. We're all meant to like be together and change
Right.
each other and support each other.
Reflect back and forth.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Dave?
Well, in a present tense, it feels like everyone should vote from their heart of what they want their reality to be, instead of that just piling on them because they didn't participate.
Right. Yeah. So it's coming from your heart in everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
It's been interesting starting and maintaining with others this space and this community. I run up frequently against opinions that say who I am and what I'm bringing isn't correct. It happens all the time. So does that mean I'm gonna stop bringing forth who I authentically am and what I have to bring forth because those opinions are out there? I'm not saying they're wrong, you know, I'm not making them wrong or bad, they're just out there.
Sure.
Because everyone has their own views and their own opinions, and everyone has their right to those. But I can't bring forth what isn't me. You know, if I believe that the world is in need of our conscious awareness and service at this time in particular, but I don't speak those things because I'm afraid of what somebody might think, that's not me bringing forth what's in me. And that would destroy me.
I feel like very grateful for the fact that you bring an open conversation. I really value what you bring forward, and I think it's really beautiful to be able to have this depth of conversation and going deeper, even though everyone may not agree on certain things. I think it's just a beautiful space that you bring.
Thank you. That's particularly appreciated today. Other thoughts about that verse? Anything that brings up for you? Anything else that wants to be shown? I can see by on the light.
What it brought up for me is, I think sometimes I have the mistaken belief that there's, you know, like a status quo, that if I don't bring it forth, that whatever is currently happening will remain the same. Like, you know, if I don't want to rock the boat, so to speak.
Yeah.
But what that brought up for me is like, no. There's no such thing as status quo and you know, non-change, basically.
Yeah.
And that there's a bigger consequence
Right.
at work.
Yeah. And boats on water are meant to rock. Right?
Exactly.
They compensate back and forth by rocking.
It's up to you to adjust.
Right.
Or fall out.
Yes. That's right.
That's so true.
Yeah.
You to keep your knees moving.
Yeah.
The boats on water, I guess, is that because like culturally humans maybe we're more fluid, so that's why it is water. We're so dynamic.
Yeah, we're able to compensate.
Inconsistent.
Yeah.
Always doing something different, shifting, changing, so
Right.
we have to.
Yeah.
It's not a rock.
Right.
It's not stagnant.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
Our lives are constantly in flux. So finding that and maintaining a balance in that, that's part of what we're doing here, ideally.
But I want the rock a lot.
I want the rock. I want it to be solid.
I want that consistency.
Yeah.
Oh, he's an old rocker, that's what
Right.
he's talking about.
Yeah, we do. We tend to be more comfortable when we feel this illusion of solid stability, balance. But balance, it's more harmony, not balance. Balance is just a moving from one, I mean, walking is, we're keeping balance, right? It's just, we're off balance, it's back and forth. Harmony is when we can bring all that's happening into a place that works together, that, you know, that flows together.
So doesn't balance kind of mean you're trying to stop in the center and quit movement?
Right,
Where-
which isn't a thing.
Where, no, you don't stop moving.
Right.
Stop moving, you're dead.
Right.
Yeah. So this flow, this harmony flow,
Yeah.
is just smooth back and forth to it. You're not
Right.
stuck in
Yeah.
trying to be in the middle.
Yeah, don't get stuck that way. And then, John?
I think standing in a boat on rocking water is a good metaphor, because in order to keep your balance, you have to be mindful. That's why the Buddha taught mindfulness.
Right.
You have to be paying attention to all the little micro changes that are happening all the time and adjust your body, you know, and so when you think you're in balance, so everybody stop, that's not gonna happen.
Right. Yes, John? No? Okay. It came, it went. Right.
Harmony is kind of in a place of action, right?
Mhm,
It's
right.
it's an active adjustment.
Right.
In order to stay in that, and just like in a lot of indigenous teachings, we do talk about balance, but we speak of it as a way to keep your world flowing in a circle, because all things happen in a circle in our beliefs. And if that circle, if you take something that's spinning and you tilt it on its side, how fast it wobbles and crashes.
Right.
So it has more to do with a constant active adjustment to keep things on a level plane that can all work together in harmony. But that harmony doesn't just come about without
Right.
any adjustment or work or
Right.
awareness. And so you have to be willing to make those adjustments. And sometimes there's other factors, going back to the boat, that's something I know well, and going back to the boat and the water, there's so many other things. There's people whizzing by in more, larger boats. There's, that wake is coming. And then there's my buddy who sometimes turns the motor without telling me we're shifting directions while I'm looking out the back. And there's other things that come into play, but being able to adjust in them all and hold your center, is something that you can't just do while sitting there blasted and not
Right.
acting.
It's very active.
Just that I guess that laziness, if you're just lazy and holding onto the boat, you wouldn't accomplish anything.
Right.
You just float along.
All right. Miley?
What I've been hearing this morning, at least from my perspective, is the creative power of embodiment, of how everyone is bringing something really unique. And perhaps it's not so much of us worrying about this plane and worrying about becoming more spiritual, but that alignment of balance between the spiritual and the physical. Because if you think about a spiritual being that's fully in this, that's not physical, like a ghost or an angel or whatever, they don't have any influence on this plane. It's very difficult for them to come through and move something or touch someone.
Right.
But when we are as a spiritual expression on this human plane, we have so much creative power, and so maybe sometimes we downplay that because we don't feel enough, and we don't feel connected enough to our light and our spiritual presence. And I think it's just a beautiful opportunity to become what we came to be and to do. So I don't know, that's what I've been hearing this morning.
Beautiful. Thank you. Full embodiment on this plane. Spirit and form, coming to know itself and acting from that place. Yeah. Doreen?
Well, balance is you're always adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're, even with your own body walking through space, you have to adjust your balance all the time, especially when you get older. You have to really adjust that balance. So it's if I hold something within me and I am approached, let's say, with a different idea, and I don't want to, I don't want to let go of my stringent beliefs, you know, then it's an ego that holds on to that. It's
Right.
like, I don't want to accept you because I don't think like you.
Mhm.
But if I can let go of that holding on to my own beliefs and just balance and adjust
Mhm.
constantly to what is around me, respectfully. Even if
Respectfully,
you
right.
just don't want that in your life, let's say.
Yeah.
You could respectfully accept.
Yeah, thank you. And Chris had a hand, then Gary.
I see this notion of balance and harmony as Doreen said, adjustment. I would also call it to compensate for something else that happened and to cooperate with this in a way that brings the harmony into being. So it requires adjustment, compensating, cooperation.
Cooperation. Thank you. Gary?
Yeah, I mean, in music, harmony is kind of holding in tension different notes, you know, so that they sound nice together. But it's possible for you to play one note and it can be in various different keys. You say, oh, I must be in this key. Then you hear another note and you say, oh, well, that chord doesn't sound right in this key. And then you heard the third note, you say, oh, I'm in the wrong key, so then you switch. So now I'm with everybody else. You know, so it's kind of like a thing to kind of bring yourself to make harmony is to be in interaction with other things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Harmony is a very active process, maintaining harmony. Okay, Chris?
We did it. We were studying the brain in our Masters in Teaching program, and I read an article about jazz musicians that are doing just that. They're improvising with other jazz musicians, and they did brain scans on them. And the parts of their brains that were lighting up were not the musical parts or the language parts, which it usually is if you're reading music, but it was the creative parts. And so I think what life calls us to do is to focus our creative aspects on keeping that harmony, keeping that balance, maintaining our relationship with the world in a healthy place. But it takes that full-time awareness, full-time creativity to do it.
Yeah. Awareness. Keep
Well,
coming
and
back.
it's in the case of music, it's developed. I mean,
Right.
It's not something that just happens. You know,
Yeah.
It's basically a thing that we kind of
Right.
have to want to have happen.
I think it's the same in our spiritually intended lives. We can build through practice. We can build by, over and over again coming back on purpose into harmony, being willing to come back on purpose, to let go of our resistances and let go of our rigid places.
It kind of reminded me of the story of Jesus when he went out on the boat, a bunch of guys, and a bad storm came up. And so these guys are freaking out, trying to keep the boat afloat and this and that. And Jesus is snoozing, And so what it showed to me is even in the out of balance situation, no attachment to it. That, over all the stuff that's happening, just no
Right.
attachment.
No attachment and faith.
And faith, and lots of faith at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it be what it be.
Anything else that has to be said right now? We're open. Before we pray out. Everybody feel complete for the moment?
Here and now.
Here and now. All right then, let's pray. Let's move into our heart space. Bring our awareness down. Settling our attention on the heart space, going deeper and deeper inward, feeling the expansion as we bring awareness to the heart, feeling the love that is here in this space, the support, the willingness to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to hold conversation from our most authentic place. Bringing that attention to the divine center, the center of our being, to our true nature, whether we call it Buddha nature or Christ consciousness or divine spark or any other name that we might have for that. At the heart of all that is, there is one source, one life, one essence, one substance, one process. We can count on that. It is forever loving. It is actually love in action. It is becoming all of creation, Spirit, becoming all of creation all the time. Experiencing itself by means of us and every other creature and every plant and everything that exists. And probably many things that we can't call materially existing, things we can't see or know. I am, you are, made of this one stuff, whatever you call that. There's nothing else going on here. We are each created in the image and likeness of God. We have that creative capacity. We have the spiritual qualities already installed, factory equipment. We don't have to get anything, become anything that we don't already hold within us. So as we move into this week, we bring our attention back to that again and again and again. We begin to work with the embodiment of our divinity, bringing our divinity into form by way of our thoughts, our words, our actions. And as we give attention to moving more thoughtfully and carefully and lovingly in the world, we notice that everything before us responds to that. That we are actively bringing peace, we're actively bringing love into the spaces that we inhabit. And so for right here, right now, for this week, wherever we are in our walk, this is what it will mean this week to call forth the living Buddha, the living Christ. To call forth the awareness and the capacity to be our best selves. So grateful for this time of reminder. Grateful for this space that we can come together in this honest conversation. And that we have so many people so engaged in that conversation. This gives me hope in a crazy world. So I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you for the gift of each one here, for every word of wisdom that has come forth this morning, and for our taking this topic, this conversation, even if just one little piece of it, into our week this week, to help us in our journey of expansion and awareness. I release this prayer, knowing it's already done its work, that each one here has benefited this morning from something, and that each one carries the blessing of this time out into the week and blesses others in service to the whole, as together we say, and so it is. Amen. Let's see, I think it's time for us to do our offering. So I invite you to join in the celebration of the work that we're doing in the world by sharing of your financial good, should you choose to do that, supporting this community so that we can then in turn grow those gifts and give them back out into the community. That's what we're here for. We are becoming even more and more a service. We're a community fellowship organization. We're becoming more and more a service organization. We see the need for active engagement in our world. And so your support creates a space in which we can then look for the need and help to fill it in whatever way small ways that we're able to. So as you enjoy this time together, Dalton's got some music for us.
It's another call and response. It's got some words in Sanskrit. I'm going to teach them to you now. The first section starts Om Namo.
Om Namo
Bhagavate.
Bhagavate
Vasu.
Vasu
Devaya.
Devaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
And there's some English parts too.
There's an English part. I can't sit down.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Because the one I love lives inside of you, I lean as close to you as I can. Because the one I love lives inside of you, I lean as close to you as I can. Because the one I love lives inside of you, I lean as close to you as I can. That's how it goes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Because the one I love lives inside of you, I lean as close to you as I can. Because the one I love lives inside of you, I lean as close to you as I can. Because the one I love lives inside What I love is inside of you. I need as close to you as I can. Let me hear you. Because the one I love lives inside of you. I need as close to you as I can. Because the one I love lives inside of you. I need as close to you as I can. Because the one I love lives inside of you. I need as close to you as I can. I need as close to you as I can. I need as close to you as I can. I need as close to you as I
Knowing that our time and treasure and talents are so appreciated. And that as they come in, they go out. Coming back to us in full bloom. And so I simply receive these gifts knowing that they multiply and do good work in the world. And so it is. Amen. All right. So please stand for our closing song. Love be with you.
Stretch yourselves out.
Stretch yourself.
Roll out your shoulders.
all together.